Hello, everybody. How are you? Thanks for watching us here. We're going to do another weekly mock draft. I am joined by Jeff Bell from Football Guys. You can find him on Twitter at @ForWhomJBellTolls. And right now he is partaking in a rather extensive survey of training camps in his Dynasty podcast on Football Guys. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Chris, thank you so much for having me. You know, I was thrilled when you reached out to be able to do this. Drafts might be the best time of the year. Maybe they are the best time of the year. So anytime we can do a mock draft, it's great.
Yeah, it's not the best time of the year. It's the most stressful time of the year for us in our business. It's fun, but you know, how many drafts have you done now, would you say?
Between me and my accountant, probably about 200 to 250 or so. So rolling on the underdog best ball quite a bit. So use code JBell.
Okay, all right. I haven't done that many, but I've done a lot of drafts. And yeah, I mean, it's fun to get to do them in public. I like doing these because we get to talk about why we think what we think. Sometimes it like kind of crystallizes in your mind that a particular draft strategy might not be for you when it starts counting. And plus, you know, I get to hear a smart other person talk about why they do or don't like a player, and that sort of also snaps things into place for me. So I'm psyched. This is going to be a full PPR draft, 12 team. It's going to be me and Jeff and 10 bots. So the bot picks will go quick and they'll fly by on the screen, and then we'll talk about our picks as they happen. Last week I picked towards the end of the draft. This week I'm picking third, and Jeff is stuck at number 9. And I got to be honest, before we even start, Jeff, I kind of have found that I wind up with teams that I like a little bit better when I'm picking later in the first round. How about you?
I think 9's the cutoff for me. I really like being top 9. 10 gets a little bit iffy. Like you start looking at, are you going to grab maybe Jonathan Taylor or Saquon Barkley to go running back, or are you going to go with, I mean, Puka Nacua is now injured. I think he'll be fine, but you know, Marvin Harrison's landing there. That's a little bit iffy for me. And so yeah, I think 9 is where you're kind of looking at those top 5-6 wide receivers and top 3 running backs or so. And I think that those are really strong cornerstones of starting your team out.
Yeah, my issue is not the first round when you're picking early. My issue is when it gets back around to me in the second round, it's going to be options that I like, but not necessarily love, as we shall explore here. Celebrity producer David Pyper is with us. He has taken a break from his many, many children to run this draft, and he's going to push the button, and we're going to see what the first 2 picks are, and then it will be up to me at number 3. So hit it, celebrity producer Dave. We got Christian McCaffrey at 1 and Tyreek Hill at 2. And this, of course, in a full PPR is where you're supposed to go CD Lamb. And I am not going to go CD Lamb, and it's nothing against CD Lamb. It's nothing to do with the contract. It's nothing to do with anything. He's very, very good. I would have taken Hill before Lamb, even in a full PPR also, but the running backs are too scarce for me, Jeff. When it gets back around to me, I'll find a receiver I can live with, and I really don't love any of the RB1s that will be available to me at the 10th pick in the second round. So it would be a choice between Breece Hall and the guy I'm going to take. By the faintest of margins right now, I am going Bijan Robinson. Do you have a strong preference between Bijan and Breece?
Before I started reading about what's going on in the Falcons camp, I was kind of more on Breece Hall. I'm a little bit worried that Tyler Algier is going to have a legitimate role within this offense, and that's going to kind of limit Bijan Robinson from scratching the upside of the Christian McCaffrey type range that you're really kind of hoping for. But I mean, Bijan Robinson's so good that we're just kind of, as long as the touchdowns fall and the receiving work falls, it's going to be fine.
I don't mind the take that Breece Hall has a safer backfield. I don't mind that take, but there's always someone else. Like Breece Hall in the torn ACL year still only got like 70 whatever percent of the workload. Now Bijan got like 50% of the workload, and that's not good. So we are clearly hoping for a little more of a tilt toward Bijan. Nobody gets a backfield all to himself. Bijan Robinson is my pick. And here we go. The bots are beeping. We go Chase. We go Lamb. There's Breece Hall. We go Jefferson, AJ Brown, and now you get the pick of the next group. Where's your head at as you're making this decision? Yeah.
Well, I mean, my head is thrilled right now because I'm on Ross St. Brown sitting on the board in a one PPR. I think that's a slam dunk pick. And so that's where, you know, I thought that I was going to be looking at maybe AJ Brown or maybe a Breece Hall. That's what you're usually looking at the 109. But if I can get on Ross St. Brown, I'm smashing that pick.
Smash it. I might have taken Barkley, but I got no problem. St. Brown would have been like next off my board there in a full PPR. All right, so you almost got Barkley.
I almost did get Barkley.
Would you have taken him there?
Yeah, I absolutely would have taken him there.
Yeah.
And, I mentioned I'm doing a lot of underdogs, and it's so slanted towards wide receiver that I've been getting Barkley towards the end of round 2, and that's where it's been thrilling to grab CeeDee Lamb or to grab Tyreek Hill and then grab Saquon Barkley coming back around. But this leaves me a little bit stuck, I think. I was hoping for Barkley because the guy that I really want to take is down the board a little bit further here. So I'm going to go Drake London here. And
Drake London, all right. We've talked a lot about Drake London on the podcast this week. If people want to check in on the Harris Football podcast, we've had 2 separate guests come in and talk about how much they love Drake London's film and how funny he is and how much upside they think he has. The scary thing is that maybe the downside of the Atlanta-ness of it all and the torn Achilles-ness of it all maybe isn't quite being factored into the price, but I think it's very clear. Like, he was a swing player for me on the show because I don't mind the price. You just paid wide receiver 1 prices, and I don't mind it, but it scares the bejesus out of me because he's never done it before.
It does. It absolutely. But I think it plays well for the Falcons when you look at their schedule, playing indoors, obviously. But they really, the second half of the year especially, don't play any top pass defenses. They're inside for the most part when the weather's supposed to be bad. So I think the passing upside is certainly there. We've seen Cousins support Justin Jefferson, obviously. So I don't know that he's Justin Jefferson, but he can be supported to that level of being a wide receiver 1.
All right. So I have a pick. I've gone running back, and now I feel not an impulse to go wide receiver. I'm probably going to go running back. I don't think friends and family of mine are going to be shocked that I'm going to take, maybe I'll take a chance. I'm going to take a chance. This isn't actually who I have ranked highest next. Well, no, because I'm not going to take a running back in the 3rd round. I'll just take the Jack Gerbil. I'll take Josh Jacobs. I am fully on board with the Green Bay experience. If you're putting him into the Aaron Jones role and he's much more durable, you're going to get receptions, especially in the red zone. That's Green Bay's thing. And I like Josh Jacobs a lot. So we're going to pause it when we get to the end of the 2nd round here, or when we just get to my pick. And just to say thank you to our sponsor, because we are sponsored by AG1. And this time around, I am prepared. I have this is the bottle of AG1 that I drink out of every single morning. It's empty right now because I drank it this morning. But I do have a travel pack of AG1. So what is it? It's the supplement that I've used to replace my supplement. It's the supplement that I drink every morning to replace a multivitamin. Has way more than any multivitamin that I've ever taken, and plus has a prebiotic and a probiotic. And we were having a little AG1 chat session before we started recording, in which we decided that not only, like, I go to the gym and I have been drinking AG1 for like 3 years and feel my energy levels are much more steady. I never really bonk anymore at the gym, and I kind of do chalk it up to just having like a steadier flow of nutrition. And then the other benefit we were talking about is a slightly more delicate topic that I'm not going to get as graphic as producer Dave got, but your digestion feels a little better, and the process of elimination feels a little better because of the prebiotic and the probiotic. I really recommend trying it out. If you go to drinkag1.com/Harris, you'll get a year's supply of vitamin D, and you'll get 5 of these free travel packs with your first subscription. It's a big thumbs up for me. I really do drink it every single morning on an empty stomach, always on an empty stomach, just because they say it makes the nutrition be absorbed a little better. Big fan. drinkag1.com/Harris, and you'll poop better. All right. So here we are. Here we are in the 3rd round. We've seen Chris Olave, and ETN is the other running back that I was considering there. Kelsey goes as the tight end 2 after Laporta. We'll start it back up. Wow. We got team 2, or pick whoever's picking 2, went receiver, and Stephon Diggs, who I love and could conceivably have taken there, but I'm no longer have that choice. That's very high. I don't see Diggs go that high in drafts unless I'm doing it pretty much ever. I feel compelled to go wide receiver. We are recording at a time when Brandon Ayuk's future is in jeopardy. The folks seeing this video in the future may know what has happened with Ayuk. He would be my pick here. I'm going to play it safe because we're drafting way before real drafts should happen. And I'm going to stay away from Ayuk because there's another receiver that I'm just fine with as my top guy. And that would be the little badass DJ Moore as my top receiver. So I started Robinson, Jacobs, and DJ Moore. And you've gone receiver. Do you feel pressure when you get to the third round? Damn, I need to get a running back no matter what. Or are you still looking at best available?
I'm still looking at best available, but I think that I'm looking at the way that the board is falling right now. And gosh, I think there's somebody screaming sitting there at running back that I think I'm going to go with, and Isaiah Pacheco. I think that when the investment in the Chiefs offense and him being a top 5 player, and then of course the other 2 wide receivers I was hoping to come back around to me would be Deebo Samuels and Cooper Kupp, and of course they went right after my pick. So that's the way that drafts tend to crumble. But
right. Well, so strategy wise, would you find? I mean, clearly you're going to feel if you're going to feel positional pressure at all, it's going to happen in rounds 3, 4, 5. Do you let yourself feel that? Like, man, I like Cooper Kupp a little more than I like Pacheco, but I've gone receiver. They're close enough. I'm going to go running back. I'll just say I definitely sometimes have that thought.
Occasionally, and it's a little bit, I like to get maybe a hero running back occasionally and just kind of hammer wide receivers. And some of it's less positional pressure and more looking who else is still on the board. And if I'm feeling like, okay, I'm on the reach around here at 109. It's not going to be that many picks before I'm back up again. There's going to be a wide receiver that I like coming back, but it would have been Samuel, would have been Kupp, would have been Waddle, would have been probably the guys that I ideally would have targeted here. And you start to get a little bit iffier, I think, after that range. But, I think that I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson here and just swing for the upside of a high-end quarterback. And so kind of start to touch all the positions. I really like in the 4th, 5th round here to hit the quarterback and hit the high end tight ends and kind of build your team that way.
It isn't my jam, but I love Lamar. He's my QB2. I think you got great value. I prefer him over everybody who went recently. Josh Allen would go in front of him for me, but he's my QB2. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to speak for myself. I've gone running back, wide receiver. And this is especially in a full PPR, not always the way everyone does it. The experts don't always do it this way. I don't always do it this way. I always knew if I'm picking 3, I'm probably getting a running back early. And from there, I am kind of going best available for 2 and 3. Do I feel pressure here? I mean, we have a flex, in this league. And actually, it's a 2 receiver league, although I don't find the level of receivers I take changes that much when it's 3 receivers because there's so many number 3 receivers, 53 receivers. So I'm just going to pretty much stick with my best available. My best available here is one Mr. Joseph something Mixon. I'm going to assume his middle name is something. Joseph S. Mixon. In Houston, I just didn't see a drop off, and I think this is good value. We come back around. Dalton Kincaid wasn't going to take a tight end. T. Higgins and Michael Pittman. Pittman would have been maybe my pick there. But alas, it didn't happen for me. I feel okay, round 5. Now I am thinking positionally. I need a receiver here. I'm not thinking quarterback because the elite quarterbacks are mostly gone and I can wait a long time and get a quarterback I'm perfectly happy with. The elite tight ends are gone. Once again, I don't feel like I need to mess around with reaching for tight ends. I'll get one eventually and it'll be just fine. It's a terrible position. So I do feel pressure to take a receiver here. Who do I want to be my wide receiver 2 on this team? There are 2 guys I have ranked ahead of the next guy in the bot rankings. And I'm trying to but it's so long until I pick again. They'll probably all disappear. So in a full PPR, he's my eldest son. He's Keenan Allen. Because I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of 3 receivers on a team anymore. And Keenan Allen is going to be a rookie quarterback's very best friend. He's a wide receiver 2 in a PPR.
So you have 2 of the Bears wide receivers.
Oh, yeah. I should have done that. I probably wouldn't have done that if I'd been not recording a podcast live. Yeah, that's fair.
It happens. Yeah, so I get it. And I'm kind of a little bit iffy on Allen. kind of in that range. Like I'd like maybe the latest swing on Odunze, or I do kind of like where you got DJ Moore in that range, in that third round range. I've been grabbing him there quite a bit. But
yeah,
you want to go
I
for
probably
a full
would have
PPR and Allen. I don't blame you.
Right. I probably would have done Christian Kirk if I could undo it. But yeah, I didn't undo it, so it's fine. We'll live. I just know out there that if I had had my wits about me and not been having to jabber, probably would have taken Kirk. But anyway, is Kirk a consideration for you here?
No, I'm gonna go with Kenneth Walker. I think that I've heard enough positive buzz towards him being the proverbial 3-down running back to go ahead and grab him there. And you know what? I got sniped by the bots coming back again here. I did.
Who did you want?
No, I would have grabbed one of the tight ends, either Kyle Pitts or George Kittle, if they swung back into round 6 for me, but they did not. But now I'm looking at it, and yeah, so I've got my 2 running backs. I'm feeling good there. I've got a high-end quarterback, and then I've got 2 high-end wide receivers. And so, yeah, I'm feeling like I can go all over the board now. I am slightly tempted to I am going to go with it. I'm going to lean into it a little bit. I'm going to take Evan Ingram, and I think there's a pretty massive fall off at tight end after Evan Ingram. And so I like the wide receiver tier we're still kind of operating in after that.
Yeah, because the wide receiver tier we're still operating in is 80 players long.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's just a bunch of guys now. I didn't get Christian Kirk. Let's just pretend. Dave will Photoshop in Christian Kirk where I accidentally took 2 Bears receivers. Thank you for putting that out, Jeff. That was pretty goofy. Let's see. Where am I in the group? The bots behind me have not taken quarterbacks. And this particular quarterback I find to be good value. I still have him higher than consensus for sure. So I am in round 6 going to take Joe Burrow. Feel like reports, if you're telling me that Joe Burrow is going to play in a preseason game, that's evidence enough for me that his wrist is probably all right. I recognize there's still been some lead in his stock because folks are still feel a little burned by last year, but I'm okay there. Oh, darn, Rome Odunze went. I could have gotten all the Bears receivers.
Could have gotten all the Bears. I think Caleb and just go with all of it.
Right. I'm going to take my highest ranked receiver left. Receiver left on my board. That would be Calvin Ridley. Not a huge fan. Anybody who follows me on Twitter @HarrisFootball saw a video that I retweeted in the past couple of days that indicated my lack of love for Calvin Ridley, but we're late. We're in the 7th round. It's just fine.
Yeah, I think that's getting Ridley there and having that wide receiver core and then having those 3 running backs. I mean, that's a very, very strong start there.
Well, thanks.
Go down on the board a little bit. I'm going to grab Deontay Johnson in a full PPR. I think
I agree.
The volume's going to be there in Carolina, so I like that pick kind of landing there.
I do too. He honestly, next guy on my receiver board after Ridley would have been Deontay Johnson. So I like that pick a lot. We're obviously at the point now where we're not picking presumptive fantasy starters. There's some thoughts of I want to look at my team to this point and feel like where I feel a little shaky and give maybe some reinforcements on the safer side. There could be the idea that now that I have all my starters, a few of these picks are going to be much more shoot the moon, high upside guys. I think anything's defensible in the middle rounds, and where do you land here?
I'm going to go Ladd McConkey in
upside
1 PPR, so I'll go upside there on the rookie. I think that
for sure.
I don't know who's earning targets there, and certainly the injury for Herbert's a little bit concerning, but at the same time, that might play into McConkey if they're looking at emphasizing the short passing game with his lack of mobility.
Yeah, it won't. If they don't have, we're all screwed if they don't have Justin Herbert, no question.
Yeah,
but
of course.
But eventually they'll have him, right? It's not the kind of injury that I don't think that's going to cost him the entire season. No. Let's not say that out loud. The last mock draft we did right before Justin Herbert got hurt. He got hurt the day it happened, the draft happened, and I took him. So yeah, thanks everybody. All plantar fascia patients across the world, we thank you. Where am I? Are there any other Bears receivers I could take? No. So I'm going to go Tajay Spears. Big fan of Tajay Spears' tape. Understand the role is, who knows? We'll see. But I like his tape a lot. I have to say, Eckler and Warren, these guys may be cheating. These bots, are they checking out our queue? What's going on here, Pyper?
I really like Eckler quite a bit too, and they grabbed there. But I like Warren in a full PPR. I think that's a good way to go, especially as your RB4. I mean, that's just straight upside there.
I agree. But I feel the same way about Spears, because Spears was all third downs last year, caught 50 passes. Like, I think all three of those guys sort of share some similar qualities, and all are. This is the right place for them, but I would be happy to have all of them. All right. Are there any tight ends I feel like I want to grab? Yeah. Sure. It seems like every mock draft I'm going to wind up with TJ Hawkinson, because again, who cares? It's the 9th round, and I might have to stash him for a little while because he's coming off the massive knee injury. But I don't know if you know this, but they can't believe his progress. I mean, yes. We'll see. But I'm going to take another tight end as well, clearly, to fill in. But eventually, I hope this turns into a value pick.
No, I think that's a good way to go. I've warmed up to Hawkinson. I was really off of him, but it sounds like positive reports of late. And yeah, I think that they're going to be able to at least get the ball to receivers there. I'm going to go Jonathan Brooks here.
Upside.
Upside, I'm a dynasty guy. Very, very tempted by the upside. Looking at my running back 3, looking at who else is on the board. Kind of when we get to the Walker's got a week 10 bye, Pacheco week 6 bye, that might be a little bit iffy, but kind of towards the end of the season, we know the way running backs fall there. So having 4 wide receivers I like and grabbing a running back that has upside towards the end of the season.
I got no problem with it. Again, this is, I like, you're like, I'm a dynasty guy in an obviously non-dynasty scenario here, but you are that's an advantage because you get to be very, very familiar with the prospects. So don't mind the upside at all.
Curtis Samuel here, and ambiguous receiving group in Buffalo. I think we're in round 10 at a full PPR again, hitting the emphasis on that. But I think they're going to find creative ways to get him the ball. Playing with Josh Allen, I mean, he's going to be okay.
Take a little piece of him, right? Take a little piece of him. It feels like maybe I'm going to get this dude in all drafts too. People are tired of hearing me talk about Chase Brown. But if there's one player whose film I fell in love with writing the almanac this year, it was absolutely Chase Brown. It's not like he had a ton of it. He didn't play a ton until he came back toward the end of the year. Never, I think, played. I have Joe Burrow also, so they can talk in my locker room. They never played a meaningful snap together last year. But I am very enthusiastic about Chase Brown. To say the least, people are very annoyed with me and Chase Brown. People stop talking now.
I'll tip my cap there because, he was down the board far enough. I was hoping that he would swing back around. So if it wasn't going to be you, then the bots might not have. So that's a good pick.
Okay, good. Yeah, exactly. There have been some picks that you've made that I've been mad at you for, but at least the bots didn't get them. Yes. The humans got to stick together here. The bots are, the uprising is here, right? Let's see. Yeah, I just can't see my way through to taking tight ends or quarterbacks here. And I doubt with Burrow I would take a quarterback. Eventually I'm going to need to take a tight end. We're looking at some combination of upside and liking Nick Chubb and wishing that Nick Chubb would turn into something good.
Those were the 2 backs that I was really hoping when I grabbed Curtis Samuel, thinking that, well, Nick Chubb's on the board and Chase Brown's on the board. Chase Brown and Nick Chubb are no longer on the board. So.
But a human got him, so you have no ill will.
Got him. We got 6 together. Let's see here.
All right, we're on your 11th pick here.
Yeah, it shouldn't take this long to make it an 11th pick in the draft.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Talking to the guy who took 2 Bears receivers. You really should take your time.
I'm gonna maybe a little bit early from where I want to go on him, but I'll throw a dart here on Rico Dowdle when I'm looking at the rest of the running backs that are on the board. Just the chance that he is the lead back in Dallas. I don't know how that's going to play out.
Can I ask you a question? Because right at 2 picks after I took Nick Chubb, Zach Charbonnet went, and you have Walker. Would that have been a consideration just to kind of like not, a handcuff, lock it up?
Not usually. I don't usually want to handcuff it just because the way that I approach it, the way I'm taking Kenneth Walker in the 5th round there, I'm making the bet that he's the guy. And so I understand the handcuff to just kind of lock down the backfield, but and maybe that's a little bit more of a best ball mindset relative to a managed league mindset. But I do tend to like to grab other people's handcuffs and hope my early pick is going to stay healthy, because if my early pick doesn't stay healthy, then along at 80% of my previous team.
Well, if he doesn't, then you'd have Charbonnet. But yeah, no, I get shooting for other people's handcuffs. That's certainly a very well-worn strategy as well. Interesting answer. Sorry to distract you from your round 12 pick.
Oh, Brandon Cooks here. Double down in that, step into that Dallas offense a little bit. I think it's so you're able to grab high-end offenses so easily this year around the board, and Cooks and Dowdle is just two shots at grabbing pieces of that Dallas offense.
I think that's just fine. And I should mention, because I haven't mentioned, we're not doing kickers, we're not doing defenses. You guys can draft those on your own time. We know that your drafts will consist of them, and if you have to do it, please do it in round 15 and 16. So we're only doing 14 rounds. I adhere to another, more, maybe you could say, older mindset, because I am older, but I took Bijan Robinson, and the dude that he's fighting with, I think it's just fine to take Tyler Algier. That's absolute insurance. I'm not assuming that it's a 50-50 split. The thing is, like, someone like Ken Walker, it wasn't 100% his job last year. I mean, by the end of the year, it was pretty close to 60-40, and yet Walker was still super valuable. And I would defend to the death your correctness in picking him in the 5th round, almost regardless of Charbonnet's role. As long as Walker's healthy, give him a 65% workload, and he's going to rock. And that's true of Bijan also. But I do want Walker has been hurt, and I want the Bijan insurance too. So anyway, that's my logic. But I totally respect. It's almost the same argument going after someone. It's like a little more variance, but going after someone else's handcuffs. Completely understand that argument too. What's your reaction? While I think about my next pick, what's your reaction to Algier going to the Bijan owner in a draft?
I think that's a good call. That's high value there, where I think that offense is going to be good enough that if it is Algier, there's no third running back of note. And so that's where if Bijan Robinson is injured, it's going to be heavy on Tyler Algier. He is going to be flirting with being a running back one, and be the situation that I would want to handcuff plus 12th round. I mean, I'm not going to beat anybody up.
Right. You're not going to get mad anyway. That's a great point. Yeah, we're not getting mad about 12th round picks, except for this one. No, I'm going to take a shot on Marvin Mims. It's pure dynasty-esque upside, because he didn't really play receiver much last year, but very late, and he's very fast. All right. Mr. Dynasty with Ray Davis.
Yeah, I think that he stepped forward as the clear guy that you want in addition to James Cook. And I mean, really, when you look at what they did in that second back last year, trying to make Latavius Murray anything, trying to have Damien Harris. I mean, there's room there that you could fall into maybe a top 30-ish back, even with a healthy Cook.
There is absolutely room for that. That's part of the landscape of the running backs in the NFL right now. James Cook shouldn't be a 75% work share guy. He's not going to last. He's small. He's not like tiny boned, but he's not. Yeah, I think that's, if you're sort of making a guess whether that it's the rookie, but like Ty Johnson is there too. We'll see. But again, we're very, very late. So love that pick very much. And here we go. Finishing it off with another rookie. Dynasty, Bucky, let's do it.
Yeah, and I think that's a clear. I mean, I've heard good things about Sean Tucker. I'm very skeptical that Sean Tucker is figuring much of anything out, and so I've heard positive things about Bucky Irving, kind of as that clear second back there. I don't know what that offense is going to look like. A little bit nervous about Liam Cohen stepping in relative to Dave Canales, but I think that there's enough upside from what we saw out of that offense last year.
Very, very little, very, very fast Bucky Irving. Has he ever been on a football field where he wasn't the fastest guy on the field? Like he can be what Keaton Mitchell was last year. I don't know if he can be what Devon Achane was last year, but like that 12 touch guy who explodes every third touch. That's kind of awesome, right? All right, so Dave Piper's going to make this pick for me because Dave, I took TJ Hawkinson, who might not be ready week 1. So theoretically, I should take a tight end, and it would be fun to take the smiling goon, Taysom Hill here. But I don't need to, right? Because there's plenty of guys I can cut and get a tight end before this league begins. So the other thing I can do is to take Khalil Herbert, who crashed and burned for me so spectacularly last year, and he would be on my team, and it would be it would be great because obviously we all know Khalil Herbert's getting traded to the Cowboys, and then he's going to be worth so much. So
yeah, of course. Well, and then you'd have all the Bears if he isn't. So
that's right. That's right. I got to get all the Bears. So Dave, I'm leaving it up to you. Smiling Goon or Khalil Herbert? Smiling Goon it is in my ear. Taysom Hill.
This is one of the very few platforms you can actually put him at tight end. So you kind of have to abuse that a little bit, I think.
I love it. I love the Smiling Goon. I love the fraudulence that he exposes at tight end. Obviously, everybody's now heard this speech twice. If you watched last week's mock draft where I also took Taysom Hill, like the only thing he's not is a tight end. The only thing he doesn't do, he doesn't never play a tight end. He blocked like 3 times last year. He's too small to be a tight end. But by golly, tight end eligibility for Taysom Hill. All right, so have a look at your team here, Jeff, and tell me what you think of it and if you learned anything about how you might adjust strategy picking 9th in the future.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, I wish I would have grabbed probably Cooper Kupp or Deebo Samuel or even Jalen Warren instead of Pacheco, and then maybe hit running back a little bit harder later. So, I mean, some of it playing into having 2 wide receiver spots versus 3 wide receiver spots. Maybe I do it incorrectly, but if I do have 3 set wide receiver spots, I'll lean a little bit harder towards locking up the 3 wide receivers versus having it a flex and wanting to get a high end running back.
Got it.
So that kind of stands out. Maybe I reached a little bit on Ingram, but like I said, when I made that pick, I do think tight end falls off pretty hard after Evan Ingram. So I like that swing there. I was really hoping that a little bit of stronger, I got sniped on Hollywood Brown coming back. I would have really liked kind of that as my 3rd wide receiver, have some upside attached to Patrick Mahomes, but I'm fine with Deontay Johnson in full PPR. I think maybe hitting running back a little bit harder later, but I liked the 6 wide receivers I walked away with.
Yeah, I walked away with 4. So I just kept finding running back value and kind of kept firing. But Nick Chubb, hopefully there's an IR spot in this league. There's an ability for me to grab one of the many receivers who didn't go in this draft in a full PPR. Adam Thielen has value. Demario Douglas has value. I could argue Wan'Dale Robinson might have value in a full PPR. There's a few guys that I might add, not to start, but like to be on a roster in these leagues. The main lesson I take away is maybe don't draft every Bears receiver, but let's just assume that not during a live video situation that I would not have done that with Christian Kirk on this team. Yeah, I think I would feel pretty good. I know that at 3, it's going to be running back for me. I know that most people aren't going to in a full PPR aren't going to have Hall and Robinson ahead of Lamb and maybe others. Although all the others have warts, like Jamar Chase hasn't, as of our recording this, haven't actually done anything yet. Jeff, I don't know if you know that, but he's not actually playing football. And Justin Jefferson got paid, but who's throwing him the ball? And yeah, so there's problems with all of them. But at 3, I would understand why people would go Lamb. I always know that I'm going to set it up and not have a super elite player, no matter what I do, picking 3 overall. Not going to have a super elite player coming back at 22 overall. It's just not going to happen. So I'm going to have like a bunch of good players. And I feel like I wound up with a fine, decent, good, like maybe not the craziest upside kind of team. But I think I didn't change my mind about going running back at 3 overall. If you'd been picking 3 overall, is that Lamb for you all day long?
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be Lamb all day. But to me, it's really interesting because how many years in the past it would just be, there would be so many seasons in the past where we would have grabbed Christian McCaffrey at 1, Bijan Robinson at 2, Breece Hall at 3. We'd probably be looking at Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, and Barkley is top 6, 7, 8 picks as well, and not even thinking about these wide receivers. So it's just been a dramatic mindset shift to grab all these receivers at the top. And I'm okay with it when you're looking at the Tyreek, the Jamar Chase, the Lamb, the Jefferson, even the Amon-Ra St. Brown and A.J. Brown. I really start to get iffy on it once you start to get to Puka Nacua, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams in that situation. To me, it's just lunacy to pass on, we're hearing great things out of Jonathan Taylor, or Jahmyr Gibbs is a young ascending talent at the running back position, or Saquon Barkley's in the best position of his entire career. And to draft like a Devontae Adams over Saquon Barkley, to me, feels insane right now. But that's just kind of, the market is moving that. I don't know. bless them, I guess. Have fun, but no.
Well, I like it. I mean, we get to zig while other people are zagging. You know, if people are going to overreact. Yeah, if people are going to overreact to PPR, that's great. Then we'll be fine. And if anything, to me, full PPR gives me an opportunity to catch up with the Keenan Allens of the world. Or if you think Keenan Allen's done, right? But whoever the sort of unexciting 90 catch guy is that I can get in the 4th round, that helps me catch up to you if you took Puka in the 1st round. So I think you said that really, really well. All right, well. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I do want to say too, I just think it gets lost on 0 RB. I'm hearing that all the time on 0 RB, and really the base of it is just lost because the way when Sean Siegel went out with it and the way it's kind of been built around is in running back heavy landscapes, you're differentiating from the field, you're grabbing high value and you're building it in that way. But it's not just not drafting running backs like that. If you just don't draft running backs, okay, I'll just draft all the running backs and I'll kick your butt as long as they stay healthy and they don't get hurt quite as much as people realize or think that they do.
Right. I mean, to distill that down to just a simple point, it's like if as we just said, if the tendency in the 1st round now is to lean even a little more receiver than running back, you're by skipping running back, you're actually going along with the crowd and getting away from value. So. We're in agreement there as well. We would love to know what you all think. Certainly, I would like to know, all the Bears fans, how excited you are to see my fantasy team out there, the receivers that I accidentally took together. But let us know in general what your thoughts are on this full PPR draft and whose team you like and what picks you thought were crazy. Let us know down in the comments. Remember, we thank AG1 for sponsoring. You could go to drinkag1.com/Harris and it would help us out a little bit if you're interested in learning more about the product. And Jeff, I want to thank you very much for doing this. I learned a lot, and I hope you did too.
Absolutely, Chris. Anytime we can do this, I'm always going to learn whenever I can do a show with you. And thank you so much for inviting, and thank you so much for having me on.
Okay, well, thanks to you. Thanks for everybody watching, and most importantly, celebrity producer Dave Pyper, who picked Taysom Hill. Wasn't me. Thanks for watching. We'll see you. Bye. Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button, write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.